the fear left, the fear that had shackled us across the years, all left suddenly when we were in that church together.
Dr. Abernathy would speak first, usually, and he had the ability to really make them laugh and maybe make them cry some. He really knew how to, kind of get them in the mood.
This show is your show. Not only is this show the show of Negroes in Montgomery, but this is the show of Negroes all over America. And then I want to go a little further than that and tell you that truly this show is the show of all freedom-loving people all over the world.
I guess you'd call it kind of folksy quality. He was able to do that because that was a part of his style. Whereas with Martin, he was more, I guess, what you would consider formal, and he would come along with a very thoughtful message.
Let me urge you to be sane and rational. Eventually, segregation in public transportation will pass away. Eventually. And I think we should start now preparing for the inevitable. And let us, when that moment comes, go into the situations that we confront with a great deal of dignity, sanity, and reasonableness.
It's very hard for an ordinary person to describe Reverend King's speaking ability because he was such an outstanding man. He could make you feel what he was saying as well as hearing what he was saying. He was sincere and dedicated, and he could lift you out your seat. You couldn't just be quiet. Look like it was such a stirring thing that it would affect you. It just go right through you. So I can't say much more than that, because it is such a stimulating thing. And he was carried away, look like, with his own speech.
Dr. King spoke with a new voice. Not only was it a new movement, but it was a new voice that you must love. You must not hate the people who hate or who act like they hate you. You must, and the best thing to make out of your enemy is a friend. So this had a very profound effect upon not only blacks, but whites this time.
You are not going to permit the NAACP to control your state.
As the boycott entered its second month, the white community's position hardened. There were whites who were sympathetic to the boycott, but many more were not. A segregationist group called the White Citizens Council held huge rallies and vastly increased its membership, becoming the largest organization in white Montgomery. They targeted anyone, black or white, who supported desegregation.
90% of the white people in Alabama are for segregation, but in the last few years we have had quite a number of backsliders, you might say, that for political reasons, to further their political ambitions, have been trying to garner the Negro vote and would do most anything to get that vote. The Citizens Council is out to utterly destroy those people.
The thing that kept the whites going was segregation, was the old way. Don't break the old way. Don't break this fabric. Don't break down segregation. Don't take this away, this old South. Don't take back the things that we've always known, and that we fought a war over these things, and that our forefathers would have us do this.
Despite the pressure, the buses remained empty. The black leaders decided the boycott might weaken if they didn't respond quickly to the violence. They filed suit in federal court, claiming that bus segregation was unconstitutional. white officials retaliated by indicting almost 90 black leaders under an old anti-boycott law. The tactic backfired. Suddenly, the national press was very interested in the story, and in the eloquent Martin Luther King Jr.
We still feel that we are right and that we stand within our constitutional rights in the protest. And we still advocate nonviolence, passive resistance, and still determined to use the weapon of love.
Jesus is with me. Oh, yeah.
Armed with the weapon of nonviolent resistance, Montgomery's blacks kept walking, month after month after month.
Oh, Lord, when I need more, and I go to my extreme, all my work can be deceived, then the Jesus stand.
How many miles do you think you walked?
Oh, about 7, 8 miles a day. Maybe longer further than that. Because, you know, going and coming, it made a great deal distant.
Ever tempted to take a ride from?
No. No, but if sometime we would be out on the road coming home, well, it'd be a white lady come along and pick us up and carry us so far, and we would thank her for it. We would be very glad. And we would offer her pay, but she wouldn't take it.
The strange thing that happened was a kind of a play between white women and black women, in that the mayor of the town issued an order saying if the white women would just stop carrying their maids back and forth, that the boycott would be ended. And so, I don't say all of them, but some of them replied and said, well, if he wants to come out and do my cooking and laundry and nurse the children and clean up, he can. So the white women went and got them in the car. They said they did it because the bus had broken down, any excuse you could possibly think of.
Well, I would have to say that there were many sympathetic whites who knew that the system was wrong, and they were doing what they could to help to correct it.
Oh, Jesus is with me. Oh, yeah. When I need him most, Jesus is with me. Jesus is with me. Oh, yeah. When I need him most.
Well, you know, a lot of times some of the young whites would come along and they would say, nigger, don't you know it's better to ride the bus than it is to walk? And we would say, no, cracker, no, we were to walk.
April 1956. The boycott was 4 months old. In other states, lawsuits and black pressure were breaking down bus segregation, but not in Alabama.
We expect